Welcome to the Duffer's Trail Guide of Milt's Mile. You're looking at Washington Dam Road in St. George or Washington, Utah. My name's Bill. Got a couple people who are going to join me in a minute. I'm in the yellow four-door JK. Again, we're just off Washington Dam Road. I'll show the coordinates in the next slide. We're going to go up this sand hill just below the Sand Hollow golf course. You can't quite see it, but on a ledge up there is one of the most beautiful golf courses I think there is in golf. Beautiful green hanging right on the red cliffs. Looking now off to the east up towards Zion National Park. And actually I say Washington Dam Road because we came in from St. George. If you come in on the road this other direction from Hurricane, it's called Pecan Road. And you would get on Sand Hollow Road and then on Pecan Road. And then the Virgin River's down here. We had a nice little rain last night. The forecast for today is mostly sunny and 65 degrees. So kind of a really nice day in St. George. And off this way is downtown St. George. And you might even be able to see the D up on the hill there. Before we get to the trail itself, thought it might be helpful to have an overview here. So just as a reference, got Las Vegas down here. From Las Vegas you come up Interstate 15 through a corner of Arizona, and here you have the St. George, Washington, Utah area, and the red circle there is the Sand Hollow OHV area. If you're coming from the north, obviously you come down I-15. If you're coming from the east, well, I guess you have to deal with, the state roads then. Once you're in the St. George, Washington area, this is a map in Washington, Utah. So you go through town on Telegraph. There's a stoplight at 300 East. That's this road here. You go south on 300 East down to Washington Dam Road. You turn left on Washington Dam Road. If you go too far, you'll notice there's like two churches together. That means you've gone too far. But so then you go east on Washington Dam Road. It turns to dirt after a couple miles, and just shortly after it turns to dirt, you see this little sort of dip or V in the road. Once you go around that V, you're in the Warner Valley area. That's a popular staging area. If you go down or up the road a little further, and at this point Washington Dam Road actually turns to Pecan Road too, which is also accessible from Hurricane via Sand Hollow Road. But anyway, right there in about the middle of the picture below the golf course is another staging area that we often use for slip lock, Milt's Mile, other trails. If you chose to, you could go over to the Sand Hollow Road area, Sand Hollow Reservoir, in which case you can either go through the park and then go east. There you go south and then east. You come to a staging area with some restrooms. There's a tunnel then that comes back under the road and accesses the dunes and a number of trails that way. Or you can even stay right on Sand Hollow Road itself, come way east down here where there's a gate. Or there's also often a fence down just where the road kind of switches from going south or southwest there, just before it transitions to the east. There's a little out on the road there, and you can often go that way through a down fence. Okay, so that's an overview of the area. This is a more close-up view. You see the Sand Hollow Reservoir there in green on the northeast part of this picture. And also then you see the beginning of Milt's Mile right here where I drew this circle, and then starting to go off to the south there. You can see probably the fastest access is coming in through the state park, which actually you'd come in just off the map to the north here. You'd go into the park, and then you'd follow this road along the reservoir to this parking area here. There's some nice restrooms there, and then there's a tunnel that comes under the road. You turn right as soon as you come out of the tunnel, follow the fence line to the coordinates for the beginning of Milt's Mile. The way we accessed Milt's Mile was along the golf course, which would be this road coming in the northwest part of the picture here, then coming south along a fence, going through a little ravine, and then following along the inner fence line to Milt's Mile. I also pointed out in the video this little part here where you can dump off Sand Hollow Road, and there's often a down fence right about where those that comes together there, and then you join up the trail and come in. So those are the basic routes to get to Milt's Mile. It's kind of hard to get Milt's Mile on one picture, but here's the circle you saw in the previous picture, the beginning of Milt's Mile. The video includes GPS coordinates, so this is just meant to give you sort of an overview of where the trail goes. You can see it goes south here, and this doesn't show the optional section. The optional section is basically right in there, and goes just east of where the orange trail line is. And then Milt's Mile ends down here at the top of the sand hill. The green line here represents the fastest way out, where you basically just come down the sand hill and then follow the sand dunes back to the tunnel that goes back into the state park, or you could rejoin the trail that you could then follow back to the golf course. Just another reminder too, this whole Sand Hollow OHV area requires the use of flags, and they will ticket you if you do not have a flag, so make sure you have a flag on your Jeep. So we're at the top of the sand hill coming up from Washington Dam Road, and to get to Milt's Mile, what we want to do is we'll stay left. So every chance you go, we'll go left, and we're going to go right along the golf course, along the fence line here. So Bryce and his LJ, it's he and I today, and Bryce's dad's with him, Milt, and that's who discovered and who has his name on Milt's Mile. So we're fortunate to have him with us today, and he'll be giving us any special tips. Okay, at these coordinates, we're at the end of the golf course. Here's the fence that we've come along to the golf course. And then there's this gate that goes into this Sand Hollow development. That gate is typically locked, so you wouldn't be able to access from there. That's why we came in through the golf course. And now we're basically gonna, stay left and go up some trails right here, and it also shows this on the map at the beginning, and we'll give you some more GPS coordinates on the way. Here's some additional GPS coordinates. We're just a little ways up the trail from where we were before. This trail is going to work its way to that trail, that sand trail just along the right side of the Sand Hollow Road there. We're going to cross over this ravine, show you some of the nice morning scenery here up around Pine Valley Mountain. And back full circle here to the reservoir and up into Zion National Park. I'll show you this. The fence is often down right here, and so you can sometimes or usually come in on the road from Sand Hollow Reservoir. There's the GPS coordinates, and again a kind of a look of where we are, and you can join up the trail at this point. Here's another view as we're going along this fence line trail, and you can see we're starting to get fairly close to the those are the restrooms and that up there that are in the state park. State park entrance was further back if you're going to go in through the state park. Okay, Milt's Mile comes up the ravine we showed you a minute ago, but it doesn't come up very far. Basically, to the first rock outcropping you find on the left is the entrance to the trail. So Bryce is coming up on this. He just got some 37-inch tires and got his front locker working. So, okay, so we're still basically at the beginning of Milt's Mile, and we have with us Milt Thompson, who he and his sons own and operate Dixie 4-wheel drive. Bryce is coming up the trail there. There's actually 2 or 3 options you can pick from. It's just a real nice, fun little trail there. Some smooth, slick rock, but really makes you feel like you're doing something. So, Milt, tell us a little bit about the trail and how you found it and how long you've been wheeling out here.
Well, it's been a little over 15 years probably since we started this trail. We started it up before the lake was in place and filled up down here. And we started looking for areas to wheel when they told us that this is going to be an open OHV. Had the opportunity to sit on the steering committee for the Sand Hollow Recreation Development Area. And they told us everything within this boundary was open OHV and we could drive anywhere on any of it. And so we started out making all the trails that we could find locations for at the time. This one we started, put a lot of foot traffic on it, hiking up through to get an idea of where we could go through and areas that we could get up. But this we did in mind with a wide group of people, so there's a lot of bypasses for those that don't want to try certain areas, and they can still get through and watch the others and have a good time.
Okay, so this is the first sort of gnarly, big looking thing here, and Bryce is going to take the normal line up, which is to go off to the right side of this, go up to about where that you head kind of right for that rock that's in the center of the camera now. And there you're on the trail. So we'll get another shot. There's also kind of a hard line on this that's not recommended unless you got a nice long wheelbase, because it's a pretty steep climb. But it is possible, if you pick the spot just right, to go right up that wall there. So we may give that a try too.
Made it look like it was nothing, but it is a steep one. As you can see, Bill's a little bit longer wheelbase. So as you're a little bit longer wheelbase, you want to kind of stick over to this bush to your right. As you start coming up, you can see it. You don't need to go fast on this one. You go nice and slow. The rear end's going to kind of wash around that, but it'll go right up it. But just go nice and slow and that rear end will slide right around usually. Just like that.
Okay, Bryce is going to take this left route here, and you can see it's a pretty tight wedge. Of course, the trick here is to, you know, keep it level. The right side is a more severe drop, so it's more important, I think, to protect yourself from dropping off the right. It's a very good place to have locking differentials. See, that was a tight squeeze for Bryce there. But those locking differentials, you know, you don't really want to be spinning tires when you're in that kind of tight spot, obviously. Okay, so Bryce is just finishing up this little 30-foot ravine here. It's just sort of one thing after another. Obviously get a little bit off camber going out to the left. There's also an option to go out to the right here. And man, I mean, I suppose it's possible to go straight up that crack there, but I know I've tried it and it really twists you around, so.
That's one good looking Jeep.
So we're at the top of the first kind of difficult section with lots of obstacles. We're going to enter into a fairly long section now that's basically just trail. It's fairly rough trail, but it's trail. And we'll go over and we'll go next to a ravine that's just across the way from the larger sand dunes out there. So we'll get a little GoPro action on that, but I don't think we're going to have any obstacles here for a little while. So Milt's been kind of marking out a new optional section of Milt's Mile. And so at the last GPS coordinates I gave you, you go off the normal trail to the left, and we're making our way down into this ravine here.
Go straight down that bill and then hard right. Okay, hard right. Yeah, becoming really good there. Just kind of a little to your, little bit to driver, or excuse me, passenger. There you go. You good line right there. Right that line. Little driver. Keep that line. Okay, little to the driver. Okay, straight up that line. More to your right. Straighten it up. Okay, hard right. Come a little driver. Okay, just crawl easy on that line. Okay, just crawl really easy. You're coming up on your tires. You're on your arms. There you go. Way better with the big tires, I hope so.
Okay, so we got to explore this whole new section of Milt's Mile, and so this will be some of the first video of it, and it rejoins right up here, and here we are back on the regular Milt's Mile trail. If we would have stayed on the regular Milt's Mile trail instead of doing the options, we would still end up right here, and we would have only missed just kind of some rough trail, but no obstacles. So the new trail is much better for obstacles. Okay, I'll give you GPS coordinates in a second, so you know where these this new section and the old section come back together. This is a nice little V that you go through. I don't know, I've seen people hit it straight. Bryce has taken a little bit of an angle. If you're long in the back, you're probably going to scrape any way that you do it. And sometimes coming out the other side here can be a little bit slippery. So this one will twist you up a little bit. It's a fun obstacle. There is a go around on it. So from the last GPS mark up until now, we have been on this new section of Milt's Mile. It's in a beautiful ravine. It's got a few kind of tricky parts, but I think it's consistent with the rating and with the rest of the trail. So there Bryce crawls out of it just fine. And just really adds a lot to Milt's Mile. So I think you're seeing a whole new sort of Milt's Mile, almost doubled, I think, in what it was before. Okay, I promised to give you a GPS reading at that point where the drop down was into the ravine, that steep drop. So I'm just, I forgot, but I'm just 100 yards past that, so that's pretty close. And now we're on this section here, which is really just kind of wide open. I mean, you can go a little right on this, you can go left on this. Eventually you need to come back left though into the sandy ravine section. Okay, so you can see we are back in the ravine after that little wide open section of slick rock. And we're going to come up to a point here which looks like a dead end, but that actually has a pretty gnarly optional obstacle. The bypass is just about 20 yards up here on the right. Actually, I think you can do it right here on the right. And if you go much further than this and you go up into this little draw here, we'll get some more video in a second. But this is, you know, front and rear lockers, highly recommended, moderate to high risk of body damage. Okay, we've just gone up that optional obstacle where you had to put the passenger side up on the wall, come up over that, and then go right up the ravine here. Then there's two little notches that we go through. Then we'll have just kind of some normal trail and trail obstacles up. And actually from here you can actually, you know, see the end of the trail, because the end of the trail is just up there where those hoodoos are up there at the top of the hill.
passenger.
This obstacle that Bryce is going through now, there's an easier line to stay right. The left line kind of puts you into that wall, and but of course that just makes it more fun, so we enjoy going that way. You can see back down through some of this slick rock that we've gone up through, and of course some of the beautiful views again into Zion and Sand Hollow Reservoir. So Milt's walking ahead of us here, marking a trail for us. We're in kind of a poorly marked section because it's almost all rock, but if you look closely, kind of see where people have gone before. We're going to drop back into the ravine again on the left in just a minute and cross over and end up right where you see these rock outcroppings up ahead of us on top of the hill. That is the end of Milt's Mile. As we get up there, you'll see a couple paths that lead out. And sometimes you might have to lay down the fence to get out. If you do have to lay down the fence to get out, of course, make sure that you leave it the way you found it and put the fence back up. Let me give you some coordinates here, because the trail cuts left back across the ravine over this little obstacle, and then heads up the ravine some more. I think I would call this the final obstacle and slip lock, which would be otherwise pretty easy, except that it's got this hole in it. So of course you got to straddle the hole and keep it level. So just as Bryce is doing there. Okay, we're at the very top of Milt's Mile, and there's actually a place here where the fence is already nicely laid down. Kind of show you around a little bit here, the bearing of where we're at. So we're going to go out right here. Again, there are some other places where you could probably lay the fence down, and if you do, make sure you set it back up. There's, again, we're right at the exit, top of Milt's Mile. Milt is actually taking a picture of a geological survey marker that's there too. So there's one right up here at the top of the hill. Now the way out from here is actually, you can see there are no trails really up in here. We're at the top of a sand hill, and usually the way we go out is to just sort of head kind of south or southeast-ish here, and make your way down the dunes one way or another, and then you will get down in this valley just over this hill immediately in front of us, and you will be down right down here. You see those two trails going up out of it, but where they come out of, right there in the bottom, that's the trail that goes out of here, and it goes right down the dunes, and you just follow the millions of ATV tracks right down the dunes to Sand Hollow State Park, and then you can either go out on the trail we came in on, or out through the park, or several other options. So that's Milt's Mile. Hope you enjoyed it.